looks like in Clay County, but I was speaking to Melissa Whitaker yesterday. She's with Project Reach, and Project Reach is it's within the schools, and they keep track of the homeless children, and they help them with whatever they need, whether it's underwear or socks or school supplies. And the statistics that she gave me were just heartbreaking, and I wanted to share those with you. So what she has done is she has, all the numbers for the 2013-2014 school year are, they have identified 1,009 children here in Clay County that are homeless. Now, most of you have heard me speak before, and I say 926. Well, 83 children have been added to that number now. So we have, in our Clay County schools, 1,009 children. Now, that is just the children who are enrolled in school. It doesn't account for babies, for toddlers, or for families who've just given up. And the number that really just broke my heart was the unaccompanied youth here in Clay County. And we have 102 children who are classified as unaccompanied youth. And the definition for that is a youth not in the physical custody of a parent or legal guardian. And this number starts in the first grade. In the first grade, there are 2 children who are the unaccompanied youth. In second grade, there's 4 children. In the third grade, there's 2 children. Fourth grade, 1. Fifth grade, 4. Sixth grade, 3. Seventh grade, 3. And you have to wonder, what do these children do to have that happen to them? The fifth grade, there's 8. Eighth grade, there's 5. Ninth grade, there's 4. Eighth grade, there's 10th grade, there's 8. 11th grade, there's 19. 12th grade, that's 46 children who are unaccompanied. And to be quite honest, these children did absolutely nothing for them to be unaccompanied. That it's just something that happens sometimes in families. And the bad part about the children who are under 16 is that there's no formal guardianship, which means that there can be no medical decision made on behalf of that child. So my question is, what happens to those children when they get hurt? These children do not have a choice. Children do not say, I want to be born in the family of the Kennedys, or I want to be born in Hawaii. These children have no choice in what families they're born in. And I can guarantee you not one of these children would tell you, gosh, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a homeless person. It doesn't happen. Nobody wants to be homeless. And these children don't want to be homeless. So it's so important that we know that and that we try to help them. How safe is being a homeless child or a homeless person? Well, I can tell you that Florida is number 3 in human trafficking, and that Florida is number 3 in human trafficking. So when you are homeless, you're living, you're couch surfing, you're living with a friend of a friend of a friend. So many things can happen to you. I looked up the incidents in Clay County, and it said that in 2013 we had 3 murders, 91 robberies, 757 burglaries, and 659 violent crimes, and 4,013 non-violent crimes. Well, how many homeless people do you think really report crimes done to them? Do you think they do? Probably not. So, Emergency Support Services is here to help the family in Clay County, and that's what our focus is with families in Clay County. And the only way to help the children who are homeless in Clay County is to help their families. A lot of people, you see the chronic homeless person, the person who's on the street asking for money, but that's not who our clients are. Our clients are the people who used to be your neighbor, but because of the economy, because they lost their job, they lost their homes, now they're homeless. And those are who our clients are. And we try to help the families in Clay County become self-sufficient. Last year we had 5 families graduate from our program. Those 5 families are living in Clay County. They're self-sufficient. We call on them every now and again, make sure they're okay. This year we've already had 4 families graduate from our program. So what I'm telling you is I'm giving you these numbers, and they're heartbreaking, and I'm asking you to stand up and say that's not acceptable here in Clay County. It's not acceptable for children to be homeless, for children to not know where their next meal is coming from. So I'm asking you to partner with Mercy Support Services so we can help these families, so we can help these children in Clay County have a hope and a future. Has anybody got any questions for me?
Of the elementary school children that you said do not have a guardian or do not have a home, then how are they getting to school? And
no, I didn't say they didn't have a guardian. I didn't say they didn't have a home. I said these are classified, and let me get the exact verbiage for you from Project Reach. They are unaccompanied youth, which means they are a youth not in physical custody of a parent or legal guardian. So there's no paperwork with this child.
Okay. So they could be living with a friend or an aunt.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yes, ma'am.
When you say they're in your program, you have housing for them, or?
We have housing for families in crisis. Right now we have 2 homes. Each home can house 3 families and 1 RA. One home can house 3 families and 1 RA. One of them just has 1 RA and 1 family. We've just purchased a quad. And the quad is 1 building with 4 apartments. And we'll be able to house 2 families in each apartment. So we'll be able to help 6 families instead of 3 in the housing. So we're going to go more towards in the future, we're going to be buying quads instead of houses. Anybody else have any questions?
When you say partner, what is that?
We need volunteers. We need people to advocate for us, to go out there and speak about us. We need financial support because we need to buy more quads. Because with this figure, 1,009 homeless children, we are going to need to buy more quads to bring these families into supportive housing so we can help them get back on their feet.
How are families or parties in your local?
Different ways. Sometimes, I'd like to introduce my CEO. This is Patrick Hale, and he will probably field some of these questions for you also.
We get referrals from churches. We even get referrals now from the internet. We're finding people who are sending us messages on the internet. We have a call center. One of the things with Mercy Support Services is that we have a resource and referral call center that has been set up for the entire Clay County of Arlington. We work with several organizations that when a person calls in for help, if it's housing and we can house them, then we qualify them and get them into our housing. We do screening for drugs and mental health, and we do a background check to get them into our housing. If it is a situation where they need help, they need electricity bill paid, or they need rent paid, or a mortgage, then we determine who is the best person who might be able to help them, who has the funds to help them, and we refer people there. If we recognize that there are additional needs, what we call a basket of needs for people like that, then what we will do is we will invite them to come into our office. We will interview them, and we will partner them with a case manager who will work with them to keep them from becoming homeless. So that's some of the things that we do.
How are you funded now, primarily?
Primarily, we are funded through churches and individuals. We get a few grants here and there, but as we are a new organization starting up, we really don't have that much funding coming from that source yet. Mostly churches and individuals.
Is law enforcement familiar with Mercy Network? Suppose they come across someone who's a family that's sleeping in a car in a park or in a parking lot or something. Would law enforcement know to reach out to you all?
Absolutely. One of our vice presidents went and spoke with each of the sheriffs meet at a certain time, certain day of the week at 6:30 in the morning, and we went and spoke with all 4 sets of sheriffs that met, and we have printed cards that we've handed to them so that if they run into somebody who needs help, they hand them a card and they have their number and information on their case.
One important difference, I think, between your organization and some other organizations is you try and shelter the family together instead of separate. A lot of them wind up, you go to a men's shelter, you go to a women's shelter, maybe take the kids to a women's shelter, but other than that, the families don't all stay together.
Right.
In many cases.
When you say they graduate from the program, what does that mean?
Graduation, and I haven't really used the term graduation. We said people move into self-sufficiency because one of my requirements for graduation is that they remain self-sufficient for 6 or more months. And so we have to be tracking that. So when a person moves to self-sufficiency, we have identified that there are basically 5 barriers that keep a person from becoming self-sufficient. And so we're looking at a person needing a home, needing a job, transportation, childcare, and how to manage their personal finances. And so once we get a person into one of our housing programs, we work on those barriers with them, and we partner with agencies within the county who can help us to break down those barriers. Once a person has gotten a job and has satisfied situation with their child care and gotten their finances under control, we refer them to one of our agencies that help with housing, and they move into housing. Now they have transportation, they have a job, they have housing, they have child care, and from that point on they can start to build back up to where they need to. But now they have become basically self-sufficient.
What about those that some member of the family may have either mental health issue or a substance abuse issue? Do you refer them, or do you have a working relationships with professionals in those areas?
We have a working relationship with Play Behavioral. And so Play Behavioral is the organization that does all of our screening before we take a person into housing. We do not have the wherewithal for rehabilitation at this point. So if a person has drug or alcohol issues or mental issues, we will refer them to Play Behavioral or even to Jacksonville, some of the other agencies in Jacksonville who could handle that.
So the families themselves, once they pass this screening, you feel safe enough perhaps to have them in a facility with another family because they've all been through the same.
And especially if we're moving them in with families who are already there, we want to make sure that we're keeping those other families safe. So we have to know something about the families that we're moving. Mercy Support Services started we officially were formed in January of 2012. But Mercy Network has been working in Clay County since 2003.
We kind of accompanied you. I understand that because I'm a teacher and I know what kids do. Maybe their parents moved away and they left them with the service and they end up with people. I know that really probably shouldn't have them, but they're left somewhere. Do you all ever take responsibility? Do you consider them part of your program? If they're living with someone who's, like maybe their needs are kind of met, but then when something goes wrong, nobody's standing for it. It's not my kid. I mean, they're living with that.
We are not there yet. Our mission statement is of such that we would be able to help those kinds of families at a certain point, but we're not at that point yet. So we're not working with them at this point.
Is there an area in Clay County that you homeless kind of get together and are living that, and then does your organization able to take food out to them or anything like that?
We have recognized, we work with two groups Heart for the Homeless, and Search and Rescue. And they are the ones who typically go into the camps and into the woods and work with those men and women who are in what we call tent cities, if you will. We at some point in time will want to work with singles, but as of right now we're not. I understand from these two groups that there are about 30 camps in the northern section of Clay County. About 30 camps. And with that houses about 120 people, about 120 people living in those camps. We are not very familiar with the more southern part of Clay County, going to Keystone Heights and so forth. And so there may be camps there as well that we are not familiar with at this point.
I have a bunch of questions, but I'll limit it to two. What is your success rate? And as far as beyond 6 months and beyond, if you track that far out, and do you have a waiting list?
We have started to build a waiting list, because one thing with a waiting list is, as we have found out, we have 3-4 families on a waiting list right now. And when you have qualified a person and put them on a waiting list, and something is not coming up in time for them, what you have done, you have taken responsibility for that family, and you have to find interim residency for that family until you have a space for them. So yes, we have 4 families right now waiting to get into the squad that we are renovating. Success rate, that is hard to put our fingers around right now. We have, of the families that I have worked with since I have been with Mercy, we have put out only 2 families who have started with us, whom we have had to discharge. All the others have gone into housing.
My understanding is that you all no longer have a facility to house furniture and goods that people might need, and you set them up in their home. So is that one of your needs, is looking for storage and for people to donate furniture and things?
We still have people donating furniture. What we used to have is one single area where furniture was stored, and the other organization that we work with called Heart for Homes, who would pick up all the furniture and make the deliveries to different homes. They are now using one of our standalone garages at one of the houses where we have, and they are using several areas around the city where they can get space. But that has not stopped them from picking up furniture and making deliveries to people who need that.
I guess I'm going to be very transparent here. You all don't know me. But I'm with Nova, and 3 years ago I was homeless. 3 years ago, my church referred me to a facility like that here in Clay County, where I stayed in a home with 3 families. I'm a single mom. 2009, I lost my job. I lived on savings for a year, and then the person I was leasing my townhouse from foreclosed twice. So every time you foreclose and every time you move, you need $3,000 to reestablish yourself. I'm no drug problem, no drug history. At the time I had my master's degree, gainfully employed in the financial services industry. Found myself homeless with 3 children. I say that to tell you that it is very real. It took me 90 days to get out of a facility like you have right here in Dr. General, and been self-sufficient. Was self-sufficient then, just did not have the resources to put on another place to live. So I tell you, it's very real. It could be you and I sitting here, driving cars, making car payments, nice jewelry, decent schools. You can find yourself completely homeless. And I lived there for 90 days. It was one of the lowest points of my life, but the church had referred me. Had I not called the Salvation Army, and the Salvation Army referred me to a home. And my children and I lived there in 2 different homes twice. So your services are welcome. I thank you for what you do. I am a living testimony now of that. 2 years away from my doctor, gainfully employed. So, what
Any other questions? Thank you for being so thankful.
Anybody else have any questions at all? I got to tell you that I got involved with Mercy about 2.5 years ago, and it's an amazing, amazing group of people. The work that they do is just tremendous, beautiful work for the community. I know Deborah was asking about homeless camps and so forth. Joanne and I live in Oakley, so every day I come down Argyle and I turn right on Broad, and I'm in my own little bubble there, you know, listening to, I'm worried about what radio station I'm listening to. And then I found out that Mercy, after I'd been in the area for like 9 years, there's a big homeless camp in the woods on the corner of Argyle and Landing. You go by it every day. I never even realized it. So it's amazing what's out there. You know, we live in this, you know, this wonderful, beautiful world of ours, but there's people so close to us that are suffering. And congratulations to you. That's a phenomenal story. So, but they do unbelievable work, and they move me every time I see. I go to the meetings once a month. They meet the third Thursday of each month with the Salvation Army in Middleburg at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that group has grown. I mean, I think when I first started coming 2.5 years ago, there were maybe 15, 20 people there. And now they're getting 75, 80 people every month. So the word's spreading. They do unbelievable work. And we thank you very much.
I work with us. I do Quigley House here. They refer families to us as well. And we work with us. That's what we are. We want to collaborate in Clay County and not duplicate services.
Thank you guys very much. Any other questions at all for either Sandra or Patrick?
was that 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning?
10 o'clock on the third
10 o'clock.
Thursday of each month. Yeah.